Prince Harry, well, he's predictably resurfaced today to trash Prince Charles and William with yet another lifeless US TV tell-all. The Duke of Woke couldn't even muster up the decency to offer an olive branch to his estranged family as he coldly deflected NBC Today Show host Hoda Kotb's question about missing them. Take a look.
Family at home, do you miss them?
Yes, I think, especially over the last 2 years, for most people, have they not missed their family, right? The inability to be able to get home and see them. Of course, that's a huge part of it.
But do you miss your brother, your dad?
Look, I mean, for me, at the moment, I'm here focused on these guys and these families.
In these moments, do you ever feel your mom's presence?
No, for me, it's constant. It has been over the last 2 years, more so than ever before. It's almost as though she's done her bit with my brother, and now she's very much like helping me. I feel her presence in almost everything that I do now, but definitely more so in the last 2 years than ever before.
Harry was more than willing to spill on the Queen, though, while still slipping in another pathetic dig at his dad and brother.
By your grandmother, how was that?
It was great. It was really nice to see her. Be able to see her in some element of privacy was nice. Being with her, it was great. It was just so nice to see her. You know, she's on great form. She's always got a great sense of humour with me, and I'm just making sure that she's, protected and got the right people around.
Well, you make her laugh. That's what she always says. Did you do it again?
Yes, I did. Both Meghan and I had tea with her, so it was really nice to catch up with her. But I think after a certain age you get bored of birthdays.
You do? You think she's bored of her 96? She won't be bored of the Jubilee, will she?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. She's had a few Jubilees now, so everyone is slightly different. But I'm sure she's looking.
Do you think you'll come?
I don't know yet. There's lots of things with security issues and everything else. So this is what I'm trying to do, trying to make it possible that I can get my kids to meet her.
Ugh. Makes me sick. I mean, the two things that I really picked up on there are I need people around the Queen who protect her. Mate, you've been away for 9 months. What on earth do you think Charles and William have been doing? And as I write in my Mail Online column today, Harry has gone so far down the rabbit hole of bitterness and conspiracies around Megxit that he doesn't even regard Charles and Wills as part of his family anymore. But I actually had one overwhelming impression watching this interview. Harry, he's so deeply and obviously unhappy. But what do you think? Am I wrong? Should Prince Harry stop selling out the royal family and tell all US TV interviews? Send me your thoughts down at gbnews.uk. Tweet me at gbnews. We've got our Twitter poll running there too. But to help you make up your mind, going head-to-head today, our royal commentator, Robert Jobson, and the editor-at-large of Philadelphia Magazine, Ernest Owens. Jobbo, this felt like Prince Harry making digs at Charles and William again and selling out the Queen to appeal to a US TV market. Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, I'm slightly more generous to him. I do hear what you say, Dan, but I think that the meeting with Prince of Wales was a three-line whip. Charles was not particularly happy about doing it, as far as I was aware. And I don't think I think they only agreed to do the meeting if nothing was said about him whatsoever, on American TV. So I think there's something to do with that there. So he looked quite awkward whenever questions came up about his father and his brother, although he did speak about his brother getting Diana looking after his brother first and him second, which was all a bit odd. I think that basically the Prince of Wales has reached the end of his tether. They haven't been in contact. And I think if he'd started blurting around about that meeting, I think that would have been the end of it for him and Harry. I think that, he turned up late for the meeting. Charles was once again stepping in to, for the Queen. And has been for the last, 2 or 3 years. And to sort of
So Jobber, you're saying that Prince Harry turned up late to the meeting with Prince Charles?
He did, yeah. He did, and then Charles, of course, had to go and get ready for Maunday service where he's stepping in for the Queen, and Camilla was already ready, and she was left alone with them. So, I mean, the reality is that all families have problems. Every family, there's always difficulty, but there's always love. But you don't go blurting after your next door neighbour as soon as you've had a private meeting with whoever. So, I think Prince Charles in this one has probably thought, if my name is brought into this, if these conversations are out in public, when there's no aides present, there's no courtiers present, then I'm not putting up with it. And this is he's drinking at the Last Chance Saloon. So that I didn't think the interview was that good. I thought when somebody said something about protecting the Queen, which was a ludicrous statement, I thought, given, and even Number 10 have come out and said, what on earth is he talking about? I thought that was the strange thing that the reporter didn't then say, what do you mean? Who from?
Oh, no, they never pose Prince Harry a tough question, do they? Ernest Owens, why do Americans seem to buy into all of this nonsense from Prince Harry?
I think that it's not so much that people are buying into nonsense. I think that we have seen how, across the Atlantic, his wife, Meghan Markle, has been, harassed in the press and been bullied.
By who?
Yes, by the British press. I mean, look, Piers Morgan, for crying out loud, was doing way too much as a bitter, old, grumpy man who was so mad that she wouldn't follow and pursue him. And he attacked her to the point where he's no longer where he's at. And there's been a lot of nasty tabloids in the same way that almost mirrors some of the things that Princess Diana had experienced. And so I think there's always this sympathy for, those who feel like they're outsiders of the royal family in this situation. Now, I do think that Prince Harry, has to figure out for himself where he wants to be in this situation, because it is feeling a little bit more complicated, right? There's a part of him that wants to be engaged with his family, but then at the same time, he has to resolve some of those conflicts, especially with his father and, Prince Charles. I mean, his father and another one. But I think that's the real conflict, is that he has to figure out.
But Joey, he doesn't want to resolve things, does he? That he made it so blatantly clear in that interview.
I think that the way that Americans see it is that they pushed them out to a certain extent.
Okay, well, it's just not true. Ernest, that is just not true.
There was
the narrative
that is alleged. You can't deny some of the things that was being implied.
Okay, Ernest, I hear you. I just want to bring Jobbo in because Robert Jobson, I can understand Ernest saying that's what Americans think, but it's not true. They were welcomed with open arms to this country.
That's not how they describe it, and that's not how the press described it. Those articles and those tabloids, the nasty media, the racist undertones of some of
rubbish.
Stuff.
I wrote a lot of those articles. Jobbo wrote a lot of those articles. What was racist, Ernest? What was racist?
You think that the way that they slammed Meghan in the press, the way that they target her, the comment about baby art,
specific, because they didn't. I mean, I was there.
You're just spreading misinformation, Ernest. But Ernest, let Jobbo respond. We'll come back to you, Ernest. Let Jobbo respond.
Okay.
Well, I think if you're going to make claims like that, you've got to be specific. And I was around at the time. I promise you that the British press were delighted to have a new couple, Meghan, a young actress, alongside Harry. I went on all those trips, and I can promise you that may be a narrative that's been spun by the very expensive media people since. But I promise you the British press were not anti-Meghan at all. They were very, very, very positive. Yeah, there may have been a few columnists. You get them everywhere. Don't tell me there's no bitchy columnists in America, because I just don't believe you. The fact is, we're welcomed with open arms, and they were really supported. They wanted a different agenda. They paid very expensive PR people to spin a narrative. But basically, Ernest, they wanted their cake and eat it. They wanted to make lots of money. That's what they wanted to do. And they've spun a narrative. They've gone over to America. And at the moment...
Yeah. And Ernest, what you have done, and I think it's irresponsible, Ernest, is you have just brought race into it without being able to provide any evidence whatsoever.
You are overriding what has been said. Meghan Markle said that there was a question about her child's race, and that was part of one of the issues.
Not by the British press, there wasn't. And that's who you accused of racism.
It was not by the press, by the family. But there's two things happening. You all listen. The thing is, you don't want to believe them. You want to create a conspiracy theory about the family and the press. She has claimed that she felt...
Okay, so you've just given an example involving the royal family. What example do you have that there was any racism in the British press towards Meghan?
You talk about the press?
Yes.
Meghan Markle herself felt like she was targeted disproportionately based on her race. She is talking from her lived experience, and you don't believe her. And that's fine.
No, I
You
don't
can
believe
say
it
you
because
don't
I was
believe
there.
a woman of color who was
We
raised
were there.
in-
You're talking rubbish. You're talking baloney. And I'm going to call it out, Ernest, because you don't have the evidence. Show me the receipts, Ernest.
The receipts are there. Piers Morgan, his comments, the way that he was
What
targeting her.
comments?
Like, are we going to act like that? Okay, so we're going to act like Piers Morgan and the things he has said about Meghan was not at all shady. We're going to just act like
He doesn't like her. That doesn't mean he's racist. Can a white man not have an issue with a black woman without it being racism?
Of making racially insensitive comments about Meghan Markle and others throughout. People know that across.
He did
if
not.
you don't read
He
it
did
that
not.
way, it's fine. But people, listen. If you Google Piers Morgan, race,
I'm doing a
or
little bit more than
racism,
Google. I was
there
there.
are tons of articles that come out about how people viewed the way that he was
I was on
talking
the
about.
show that day. He
and
never
others.
made a single racist comment. The reason
That's
that
your
it was
opinion.
about, he said he didn't believe
You
her.
don't get
That's
to
all he
say
said.
that. You don't get to dismiss how she felt and what she has said on record.
Well, no, I'm talking about what you have said tonight, Ernest. You have said that there was racism in the British press. You've produced not one example. You've produced not one receipt. You've just said Piers Morgan.
You're mad, and that's okay. But the reality is that you either have to believe.
I'm
you either
mad.
have to believe there's something
I'm
going
mad.
on. No. You would rather believe there's a massive
Because I was
conspiracy
there, Ernest. You're
that's being
just,
done
all
by
you do
Prince
is
Harry
talking.
and Meghan.
All you do
That's
is just out talking
You
everyone
believe
and not
that
letting anybody else have a point of view.
and ignore
But that's
all of
not-
the issues around the royal family.
Well, look, Ernest, Jobbo and I were here. We were covering the story. We were in the country on the day when the entire nation stopped to welcome Meghan with open arms. You want to buy into her narrative, that's fine. But come back, Ernest. Come back to me with some specific examples. Because you won't find them. You won't find them, let me tell you. But look, I've got to wrap that up. That was the top royal biographer, Robert Jobson.
Not a thing. We're going to act like her bringing it up to Oprah was not a thing.
Oh, believe me, I can prove to you that virtually every statement she made in the Oprah interview was peddling disinformation, was completely factually incorrect. And I can show you the receipts of that, Ernest. But if you want to come back and show me the examples of the racism that you say was throughout the British press, that's fine. But you're accusing Robert Jobson and I of being racist by doing that, so just be very careful.
Is Meghan Markle lying about racism in the royal family?
Well, she hasn't named the person of the family who she claims made the comment.
Are you saying that she's lying? It's a real question. Is she lying? You think she's lying?
I think based on her track record, Meghan Markle is a proven liar, so it's possible.
The whole royal family. She said one person had made a comment that she
said one
interpreted.
person.
Hang on, you let me finish. You've never stopped speaking. You know, all you do is talk over.
There's no racism
Well,
in the royal family.
look, we're going to end this now, but Ernest, feel free to bring me the receipts. Robert Jobson, thank you so much. And editor-at-large of Philadelphia Magazine, Ernest Owens, you're going to have to keep talking beyond amongst yourselves now. But who do you agree with? Well, Martin on Twitter says Harry and Meghan should stay in California and let the royals do what they're good at, unlike him, who would sell his soul for a quick buck. From Marion, maybe the prince has something important to say. Who knows why he really left? And Kane says Harry and Meghan visit the Queen. He then talks about it in an interview and says he wanted to make sure she was protected. Protected from what? A Dalek? A bee? A wrongly made scone? They have no right to talk about the Queen after the deluded allegations they've made and actions they've taken. Your verdict is now in. Wow, 95% of you agree that Harry should stop selling out the royals in US TV interviews. Just 5% of you want him to keep on talking.